50 Cent has been talking a lot lately, and when he speaks, people listen. He's been throwing major shade at Diddy for years, but now he's spilling some serious tea about Usher and Justin Bieber that's got everyone questioning Diddy even more. Usher has already said that living with Diddy as a teenager felt like stepping into a completely different world, a world no kid should have to experience. Bieber somehow got caught up in that same vibe. 50 Cent has hinted that these so-called mentorships were less about career advice and more about, well, let's just say they weren't your typical guidance sessions. He's been laughing it off in interviews, but you can tell he's dead serious. Underneath it all, it's clear he's been holding on to receipts for years and is finally ready to expose the truth about why he skips Diddy's parties.
Now, Fifth, when you continuously call Puff gay, does that affect your relationships in Hollywood?
I don't call him gay. I said,
let me read it, Fifth.
No.
50 Cent never holds back, and when he appeared on the Enthusiast podcast, he didn't shy away from explaining why he steers clear of Diddy's infamous parties. These gatherings are Hollywood legends, known for their wild energy, but according to 50, they weren't his kind of scene, not even close. Let me tell you something, he said with a smirk. Diddy's parties? Freaky. Too freaky for me. I'm good. Yes, you heard that right. 50 Cent, the same guy who made a career out of pushing boundaries and stirring the pot, drew the line at what he witnessed, or perhaps just heard about, at Diddy's events. And let's be real, if 50 says something is too much, it's definitely next level. So what exactly was going down at these parties? While 50 didn't spill all the details, he made it clear that the vibe was anything but normal. I'm a basic, regular guy, he explained. I like things simple. That stuff they were on? Nah man, I can't get with it. And no, it wasn't just champagne fountains and designer outfits with a little bit of drama. According to 50, these parties were on a whole different wavelength, and not in a good way. People in the industry, they get into some weird stuff, he said, shaking his head. Stuff you wouldn't even believe if I told you. And you know what? They don't talk about it. Of course, this is 50 Cent we're talking about. He's a master at dropping cryptic hints and letting your imagination do the rest. But one thing he made crystal clear, he was not about to get caught up in any of that. You won't see me at those parties. Nope, never. Not my scene, he said bluntly. Fans couldn't help but speculate about what exactly was going down at these events that made 50 decide to bow out. Was it the vibe? The people? The activities? All of the above? Whatever it was, 50 chose to keep his distance and watch the chaos unfold from afar. And honestly, can you blame him? Sometimes it's better to stay home with a pizza and a movie than step into what sounds like a reality show gone wild. In true 50 Cent fashion, he couldn't resist throwing a little shade. Some of these folks, they'll do anything to stay relevant, he quipped. I just keep it real and stay in my lane. So, while Diddy's parties remain the stuff of legend, or maybe infamy, 50 is perfectly fine skipping the drama and staying far away. One thing's for sure, he has no regrets about keeping those invites on red. And if that wasn't enough, Jaguar Wright, known for her unfiltered takes on the music industry, dropped another bombshell about what allegedly went down at Diddy's infamous parties. According to her, some guests didn't just leave, they ran out of Diddy's house screaming. Sounds like the chaos 50 was avoiding might be even darker than anyone imagined. The stuff of nightmares, indeed. During one of her candid rants, Jaguar Wright painted a picture of sheer chaos. Let me tell you something, she said, leaning into the mic with her trademark intensity. People would go to Diddy's house thinking they were about to live the dream, celebrities, luxury, all of that. But some left traumatized. They left screaming because of the madness they saw in there. Jaguar is no stranger to calling out the entertainment world for its wild, and let's be real, downright shady, behavior. But when she's talking about grown adults running out of a house like they just escaped a horror movie, you know things must have been next level. She didn't go into too much detail, probably for legal reasons, but the way she spoke left little to the imagination. It was the kind of stuff you can't unsee, she said cryptically. Let's pause for a moment. Parties are supposed to be fun, right? Drinks, music, good vibes. But not at Diddy's, apparently. According to Jaguar, what went down behind those closed doors wasn't the kind of scene most people would ever expect, let alone want to experience. Jaguar made it clear that these gatherings weren't just about having a good time, they were about power. It's not just a party, she said. It's a place where people's limits are tested, where things happen that shouldn't happen. While Jaguar's claims have sparked mixed reactions, some people hanging on her every word, others rolling their eyes, There's no denying she stirred up a whole new wave of speculation about what really goes on behind those lavish mansion gates. People would go in there thinking they were about to be part of something exclusive, Jaguar added. But they didn't know what they were really signing up for. It's one thing for 50 Cent to steer clear of the parties because they're too freaky, but Jaguar's description paints them as something far more unsettling. It sounds less like a wild Hollywood gathering and more like a high-stakes test of personal boundaries, an experience some weren't prepared for and clearly wouldn't forget. It sounds like something straight out of a psychological thriller, grown adults screaming, running out of Diddy's house in a panic. That's not exactly the kind of party favor most people are hoping for when they RSVP. At the end of the day, these stories leave us with more questions than answers. What exactly was going down at those parties? And more importantly, why did people keep showing up? If the guest list had this much drama, the RSVP must have come with a disclaimer. As the layers of stories tied to Diddy's infamous lifestyle continue to unravel, one particular tale stands out: Usher's. Picture this: a young, impressionable Usher Raymond sent off to live with Diddy as a teenager, eager to learn the ropes of the music industry. On paper, it sounds like the ultimate mentorship opportunity, but Usher himself has hinted that the experience may not have been all it was cracked up to be. His reflections suggest that there's more to the story than just industry advice and luxury living, suggestions that things may have taken a much darker turn behind the scenes. In a resurfaced interview, Usher dropped a cryptic bombshell about his time with Diddy, saying, "I saw things that I shouldn't have seen." While he didn't go into detail about what exactly those things were, that single sentence was enough to send fans' imaginations running wild. The interview, which has been circulating online, features a young Usher reflecting on his time under Diddy's wing. He described the atmosphere as wild and mentioned being introduced to mature experiences at a very young age. Diddy himself even remarked in a separate conversation, "I taught Usher a lot, maybe too much." What makes this even more eyebrow-raising is the context. Usher was just 14 years old when he moved in with Diddy, who was already known for his extravagant, party-heavy lifestyle. The young star was thrust into a world of luxury, late nights, and, according to some reports, situations far too adult for someone his age. Usher later admitted that while the experience was formative, it came with its complications. "I grew up fast," he said, reflecting on those years. Fast forward a couple of decades, and Usher plays a pivotal role in another superstar's journey, Justin Bieber's. This connection brings even more intrigue to the stories tied to Diddy's infamous mentorship style and the way it shaped those who were exposed to it. In 2007, a 13-year-old Justin Bieber was discovered on YouTube by Usher and signed to Raymond Braun Media Group, Usher's label in partnership with Scooter Braun. But here's where things get really interesting. Usher didn't just take Bieber under his wing, he introduced him to Diddy. And if Usher's earlier experiences with Diddy were any indication, this mentorship may not have been the kind most parents would dream of for their kids. Bieber, starstruck by Diddy, began spending time with the mogul early in his career. One infamous video clip, now a meme for years, shows a very young Bieber sitting on Diddy's lap while the producer jokes about teaching him the ropes of the industry. Fans have speculated about what Bieber might have experienced during his early days in the game, especially given the growing number of stories surrounding Diddy's behind-the-scenes life. Usher's dual role in these two narratives, first as the mentee who saw too much, and then as the mentor who introduced Bieber to Diddy, feels like a full-circle moment that's both fascinating and a little unnerving. Did Usher ever think twice about introducing Bieber to a world he himself struggled to navigate as a teen? Was he trying to give Bieber the same opportunity he had, or was it a case of history repeating itself in ways no one anticipated? Adding to the intrigue, Bieber has shared snippets over the years hinting at the highs and lows of growing up in the industry. He's spoken candidly about feeling overwhelmed and losing himself amidst the fame, though has never directly implicated anyone in those struggles. Still, given the connections between Usher, Bieber, and Diddy, there's an undeniable curiosity about the impact these early years had on Bieber's journey and whether the patterns Usher once lived through influenced his decisions as a mentor. The connection between Usher, Diddy, and Bieber certainly leaves people wondering if those early introductions played a role in shaping Bieber's journey, both the good and the bad. Usher and Bieber's intertwined stories with Diddy create an unsettling impression of how mentorship and fame collide in the entertainment world. Diddy's parties, his lifestyle, and the controversial stories tied to his name have painted a picture of a high-octane environment where boundaries are blurred. It's easy to see how young stars like Usher and Bieber could be both drawn to and overwhelmed by that world. While Usher has remained relatively quiet about the details of his time with Diddy, his cryptic remarks and the decision to introduce Bieber into that same space only deepen the mystery. Did he believe Bieber could handle it? Or was it simply a matter of passing the torch? Whatever the case, The stories that continue to emerge suggest that Diddy's influence on these young stars was profound, and perhaps not always in the way anyone would hope. It's a complicated web of mentorship, fame, and personal growth, with Diddy at the center, casting a long shadow over the lives of those who have come into his orbit. The connection between Usher, Diddy, and Bieber is far more layered and controversial than most fans ever realized. Diddy's influence in the entertainment world is legendary, but not always in a good way. For years, stories have circulated about how no one made it big unless Diddy gave his stamp of approval. And honestly, it's not that far-fetched when you hear what some industry insiders have to say. If Diddy didn't like you, good luck making it. An anonymous source once spilled that Diddy was the guy who could open doors or slam them shut. Sounds dramatic, right? But let's not forget, this is the same man who built Bad Boy Records into a cultural empire through legendary parties and worked with everyone from Biggie to J.Lo. You didn't just show up in Diddy's world. You had to earn your spot. Apparently, this kingmaker attitude extended to everything. Diddy had the kind of power that made people either want to impress him or fear him. If you weren't part of his inner circle, you were probably left wondering what you missed. According to Jaguar Wright, some celebrities literally left his house screaming because of what they saw or experienced there. It paints a picture of a world where the price of fame was often far higher than anyone anticipated, with Diddy holding the key to the gates of success, and sometimes, chaos. What went down at Diddy's infamous parties was anything but typical, and if you weren't ready for that life, you didn't belong there, according to Jaguar Wright. She painted a picture of late-night chaos that probably wasn't for the faint of heart. But here's where it gets even wilder. Diddy wasn't just pulling strings behind the scenes. He reportedly did whatever he wanted, out in the open, without caring who saw. One source explained, he was untouchable. Untouchable. Can you imagine walking into a party and seeing someone act like they own not just the room, but the whole industry? That was Diddy. But it didn't stop there. The impact of Diddy's control extended to the artists he worked with. They weren't just signed to Diddy's label. They were practically living under his rule. They'd get invited, or at times, pressured into attending his parties, doing favors, or playing along with whatever vision he had for their careers. It wasn't just about making music or money. It was a system, and you had to play the game to stay in his good graces. Even Usher once hinted at the strange vibe in the industry that came with working with Diddy. There was an underlying tension between the glitz and glamour of fame and the deeper, sometimes unsettling dynamics of power. For anyone entering Diddy's orbit, it wasn't just about talent or ambition. It was about navigating a complex web of loyalty, control, and the fear of what could happen if you didn't fall in line. Diddy's world has always been shrouded in mystery, and during a resurfaced interview, Usher made a statement that hits hard. There were things I probably shouldn't have seen, things I didn't even understand at the time. Coming from someone who was mentored by Diddy as a teenager, that's a heavy statement. And it didn't stop with Usher. He even brought Justin Bieber into the fold years later, introducing him to Diddy. Let's hope Bieber didn't see anything too wild. For years, Diddy's confidence shielded him from scrutiny. He walked through the entertainment world like no one could touch him, and for a while, that was true. But in the age of social media and growing accountability, the cracks are starting to show. Old stories are resurfacing, former collaborators are speaking up, and Diddy's carefully curated image is being questioned. It makes you wonder, how many stars had their careers launched or stalled because of him? How much of his success was built on raw talent versus sheer influence? Whatever the case, one thing's clear. Diddy's legacy is anything but boring. Love him or hate him, the man knew how to run the show, whether everyone else liked it or not. As for his relationship with J.Lo, there's always been speculation about their connection. Some of it remains shrouded in mystery, with whispers of a secret that never quite made it into the public eye. The story of Diddy and J.Lo continues to be one of the most intriguing in Hollywood, filled with intrigue, power plays, and untold truths that might never fully surface. Diddy and J.Lo's relationship has always been the stuff of headlines, from their red carpet appearances to their dramatic breakup. But according to Jaguar Wright, there's a side to their story that many people don't know, and it's as messy as you'd expect. Wright claims that back in the day, Diddy went to great lengths to protect J.Lo, especially during the infamous nightclub shooting in 1999. Let's rewind to that night. Diddy and J.Lo were living their best lives as one of the hottest couples in Hollywood when everything changed. Shots were fired in a packed club, leaving 3 people injured. Diddy and J.Lo fled the scene, and the next thing anyone knew, they were caught up in a media circus. Jaguar Wright alleged that Diddy took control of the situation to shield J.Lo from the chaos, making sure she got out of there safely. But it wasn't just about protecting her from physical harm. Diddy was also concerned with saving her career. At the time, J-Lo was transitioning from being a respected actress to one of the biggest pop stars in the world, and her image had to be handled with care. The shooting could have been a career killer, but Diddy's swift actions ensured that she stayed in the public's good graces, even as the media frenzy swirled around them. This episode paints a picture of Diddy as not just a protector, but also a strategic mastermind when it came to managing the people in his orbit. Whether it was a matter of genuine care or calculating self-interest, his role in shaping J-Lo's career during that pivotal moment shows just how far he would go to control the narrative around his relationships and the people he worked with. Diddy's protection of J-Lo during the nightclub shooting in 1999 wasn't just about keeping her safe physically, it was also about safeguarding her career. At that point, J-Lo was transitioning from a dancer and actress to a full-fledged pop star, and any involvement in a criminal investigation could have derailed her rising career. According to Jaguar Wright, Diddy reportedly took the heat for the incident, facing serious legal trouble, while J-Lo managed to come out relatively unscathed. Diddy's influence and resources helped ensure that she wasn't tied too closely to the scandal, giving her the chance to continue building her career. But here's where it gets interesting. Fast forward to today, and it looks like J-Lo's team is working overtime to distance her from Diddy's ongoing drama. With new allegations and controversies surrounding him, J-Lo's PR strategy seems to be all about steering clear of any connections to her ex. An insider shared that the last thing she wants is to be dragged into Diddy's mess, and honestly, who can blame her? J-Lo has spent decades carefully crafting her brand as a powerhouse performer, fashion icon, and business mogul. The last thing she needs is her name popping up in headlines about Diddy's legal battles and wild parties. Her team has reportedly been scrubbing any narratives that tie her too closely to Diddy, keeping her image clean and focused on her own successes. With all the work she's put into rebuilding her reputation, staying clear of any Diddy-related controversies is a smart move on her part. J-Lo has clearly moved on from her past with Diddy, making it evident through her ongoing success. What's wild is how this all connects to Diddy's larger-than-life reputation. Back in the day, being tied to Diddy was like having a golden ticket in Hollywood. But now, with the lawsuits and public scrutiny surrounding him, his name has become more of a liability than an asset. While Diddy faces mounting legal battles, J-Lo is out here thriving, headlining Super Bowls, starring in movies, and living her best life. It's clear that she's evolved far beyond her past connection to Diddy. However, the connection between them is hard to erase completely. The nightclub shooting incident remains a pivotal moment in both of their careers, whether they like it or not. It's a reminder of how Diddy's influence shaped the lives of so many people around him, both for better and for worse. As Jaguar Wright put it, Diddy was always cleaning up messes for others. But now, the real question is, who's going to clean up his mess? Enter 50 Cent. Whether it's shading Diddy's business moves or poking fun at his larger-than-life persona, 50 Cent has made it clear he's keeping an eye on Diddy. From playful jabs to more serious digs, it seems like 50 has taken it upon himself to expose the cracks in Diddy's carefully constructed image. The drama surrounding Diddy isn't going anywhere anytime soon, and with figures like 50 Cent speaking out, it's only adding more fuel to the fire. 50 Cent has never been shy about his disdain for Diddy, but things really hit another level when 50 started dropping hints, or, let's be real, outright claiming, that Diddy might be hiding some things about his personal life. During an interview, 50 Cent didn't hold back, stating, "Diddy be doing some suspect stuff, man. It's not even about speculation anymore. It's right there in front of you." He referenced old clips, like the infamous Drink Champs interview, where Diddy made questionable comments about rapper Fabulous, and another moment where he made Usher visibly uncomfortable. "There's just something about Diddy that's different, you know?" 50 added with his signature smirk. If that wasn't enough, 50 Cent took to social media to keep the drama alive. When allegations and an indictment started piling up against Diddy, 50 saw an opportunity to stir the pot even further. He sent out a tweet that sent fans into a frenzy, fueling speculation and drama surrounding Diddy's personal life. While it's clear 50 Cent doesn't hold back from calling out Diddy, his latest moves suggest he's not just trying to make noise, he's trying to expose some of the hidden layers behind the mogul's larger-than-life persona. The tension between these two continues to build, and with the way 50 is ramping up his comments, it looks like this feud is far from over. The situation with a meme that captured his feeling perfectly. "Man, Diddy out here doing the most and they finally caught up with him. Karma is undefeated." The tweet included a sly caption, making it clear that 50 was enjoying the chaos surrounding his longtime rival. Fans went wild, with one writing, "50 Cent has never lost an internet beef, I'm invested in this one." And another saying, respect for 50 Cent, is a real one. For 50, it's all about making noise and keeping his brand alive. I'm not saying anything people don't already know, he claimed, I'm just saying it louder. What's even more wild is that this isn't the first time 50 Cent has hinted at Diddy's sexuality. Years ago, he went on a podcast and casually said, I don't even call it rumors anymore. You hear stuff from people who've been around him and it all adds up. While 50 didn't provide concrete evidence, his cryptic statements were enough to get people talking and stir up more drama. 50 knows exactly how to drop just enough to keep the conversation going, and that's exactly what he's done here. But 50 didn't stop at the personal jabs. His tweet following Diddy's indictment was yet another reminder of how much he thrives on drama. The case, which involves serious allegations ranging from misconduct to business fraud, has shaken Diddy's empire. And leave it to 50 Cent to capitalize on the chaos, turning Diddy's legal battles into the latest source of entertainment for his fanbase. This back and forth between the two moguls shows no signs of slowing down anytime soon, saying that Diddy has a whole network of people who help keep things under wraps, including those who could potentially expose him. Some sources claim that he has a way of silencing victims, whether through legal means, pressure, or sheer influence. It's like he's developed a system for controlling the narrative, ensuring that any potential drama is kept out of the public eye. His ability to remain unbothered by the constant controversies makes you wonder just how much power he's really holding behind the scenes. According to an insider, Diddy isn't scared. He's got a way of making sure people stay quiet. They don't want to cross him. There's this air of intimidation that surrounds him, which makes it difficult for anyone who's been involved in these situations to speak out. Whether it's through the legal system, financial pressure, or more covert methods, Diddy has managed to keep his public image relatively clean despite the countless whispers and allegations. But what makes this all even more unsettling is that it's not just the business rumors or the shady dealings, it's the allegations that involve real personal harm and the people who have been allegedly silenced in the process. The more you dig into Diddy's life, the clearer it becomes that he's built a fortress around himself, protecting his empire at all costs. The question remains, how long can he keep this up, and how much more will eventually be revealed? Comes to Diddy and Quincy Brown, the relationship has always raised eyebrows. Their bond, which seems unusually tight, has often been a subject of speculation. 50 Cent didn't hold back in his interview, calling attention to the dynamic between Diddy and Quincy, suggesting that it went beyond what you'd typically expect in a father-son relationship. In the interview, 50 said, "You've got to look at the way Diddy's been moving with Quincy. That ain't normal." His comment was enough to stir up a storm online, as people immediately began questioning whether there was something off about their closeness. While it's not uncommon for a stepfather and stepson to have a strong relationship, 50's insinuations made it seem like there could be more to their connection than meets the eye. This raises all sorts of questions about how Diddy interacts with people in his inner circle and what lies beneath the surface of his carefully curated public persona. For Quincy, who's grown up in the spotlight and is part of Diddy's extended family, there's always been this air of mystery around his connection to the mogul. And with comments like 50 Cent's, the curiosity surrounding their relationship only intensifies. Themselves as a picture-perfect family, frequently sharing moments on social media that showcase their strong bond. Their interactions often come across as incredibly supportive and affectionate, but it's the intensity and consistency of their closeness that has left some fans questioning whether it's crossing a line. Despite the public displays of unity, the underlying tension about their relationship is palpable. Many people are now looking closer at their behavior, especially in light of 50 Cent's comments, which have only amplified the speculation. When you're constantly under the microscope like Diddy and his inner circle, every gesture, word, and post is scrutinized, and what might seem like a warm family dynamic to some might feel uncomfortable or excessive to others. The fact that some people close to them have described their relationship as too affectionate adds an extra layer of intrigue to the situation. It's unclear if these observations are being exaggerated or if there really is something unusual about their bond, but in a world where celebrity relationships are often more complicated than they appear, it's no surprise that people are questioning what's going on behind closed doors. Whether it's a case of fans projecting their own perceptions or there being some truth to the unease, the dynamics between Diddy and Quincy remain a topic of conversation that won't go away anytime soon. It's tough to say if 50 Cent is onto something or just trying to stir the pot. Diddy has always been a master of controlling his image and deflecting rumors, and his ability to stay unbothered in the face of controversy is impressive. Given his long history of managing scandals and keeping his personal life under wraps, it's possible that what's really happening behind the scenes is more complicated than anyone can fully understand. 50 Cent's comments certainly add fuel to the fire, but whether they are rooted in truth or just a way to keep the drama going is unclear. It's definitely not uncommon for public figures, especially those as influential as Diddy, to be surrounded by rumors, and how he handles them is part of his larger-than-life persona. But the way people scrutinize relationships, especially in the world of entertainment, means that the stories often get bigger than the facts themselves. It could also be that there's just an element of overthinking involved when it comes to Diddy and Quincy. Sometimes, when celebrities are constantly under the spotlight, even the most innocent gestures can be overanalyzed. At the end of the day, Diddy's ability to stay calm and maintain control over his narrative is what sets him apart, and whether or not 50 Cent's comments hold any weight, it's clear that this is a story that will keep people talking for a while. What do you think? Do you feel like 50 is just adding drama, or is there something deeper going on?